Well, hey folks, and welcome back to the Tennishead YouTube channel. I'm your host, Stephen Boughton, and today we're going to talk about the rise up the rankings of three of the game's hottest young players. These kids are all teenagers, but they're rising up the rankings like a few of the GOATs have. So we're going to take a look at their careers, how they got to where they're at now, and why they are so dangerous, and what their future looks like on this episode of Tennishead. Well, thanks for joining us again here, folks. We are in full flight in the clay swing, so make sure you head to tennishead.net for all the news that you need to stay up on the game. Also, head to the link below to join the Tennishead Club. You get the magazine, but you also get a lot of other perks like the head-to-toe ASICS tennis gear. You get coaching videos from the likes of Boris Becker, and you also just get all these advantages that are in the virtual club. So if you want to learn more about that, the link is below, and we'll see you there. But tennis has been known for having young people who come into the game and just make a huge splash, and that's not changing now. As we've seen the GOATs, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, get older and older and still be just as good or just as dominant. We also have some extremely young players who are making a splash on the ATP Tour. We already talked about one of them, Yannick Noah, in a previous video, but we're going to talk about him again today because he's just that good. We're also going to talk about Lorenzo Musetti and Carlos Alcaraz. These are two other teenagers who are taking over the game. They're rising up their rankings really quickly, and we're going to compare their rise to the likes of Federer and Nadal. So looking at Yannick Noah, we've talked about him a lot. He gave up skiing and soccer at age 13 to pursue tennis full-time, which is a lot later than other players. And then we've talked about that before. In 2019, he started this season at number 551. Think about that. That's not that long ago. He won the Bergamo Challenger in February, the youngest Italian player to ever win a challenger. The second challenger title came in Lexington. After the Lexington title, he got a few ATP wins, which helped his ranking, and then a great showing at the ATP Next Gen Finals, where he beat all the other players, losing in the final to Hugo Humbert, but really showing his skill on the world stage, beating the likes of Alex de Minaur, who was way ahead of him in the rankings. So that's when he really, I feel, made his biggest splash onto the tour. And then the buzz was real about him already. After the great Next Gen Finals, he had a great showing and won the Ortesi Challenger. And he finished the year in the top 80, the youngest player to do that since Rafael Nadal. So people are already making those comparisons. And then the next year in 2020, after the pandemic stall at the French Open, he became the youngest player to make the quarterfinals since Novak Djokovic in 2006. And the youngest player and the first to make the quarterfinals in their debut since Rafael Nadal back in 2005. So he's on the same trajectory there as two of the greatest of all time, and it's happening right in front of our eyes, which is super exciting. In 2021, he did not disappoint at all. So after his great showing at the French Open, he won the Sofia ATP 250, the youngest player to win a title since Kei Nishikori, and then he continued that form into the new year, winning the Great Open Road Ocean, the ATP 250 in Australia. Then he made it to the Miami Open final we just saw against Hubert Hurkacz, and now he's well into the top 50. He's in the top 20 now, actually, and he's a threat to anyone at any stage. And we've compared his rise up the rankings to the likes of Federer and Nadal. He made it to the top 100 in 89 weeks since he got in there. Federer, for example, was at 104 weeks since he entered the race. So he's even rising faster than Federer, which is exciting and interesting to see, and we just are looking forward to what he can do next. He's playing right now in Barcelona. He just beat Andrei Rublev, and he's into the semifinals now. So Yannick Noah gets a ton of the press and the credit as the teenager, but there's a couple other teenagers like we've noticed, as well as an Italian, Lorenzo Musetti, who's been rising up the rankings, playing amazing tennis as of late. So Musetti, compared to Sinner, played a lot of junior tennis, and he was the world number one in June 2019 after winning the Australian Open earlier that year. So he's made a big splash on the ATP Masters 1000 in Rome 2020, where he qualified and then beat Wawrinka and Nishikori to reach the round of 16. Now with his game, he's got the one-handed backhand, the flair. A lot of people compare him to Federer, the way he hits that ball and just the way he plays in general. Very aggressive. He was the youngest player in the top 100 when he broke into it after making the semifinals this year, 2021, of Acapulco. He's actually on the exact same pace that Roger Federer was after coming into the rankings. It's been 104 weeks until he broke into the top 100. So, like the big three, he's taken his time to get in there, not a lot of time, and now he's in there and he's looking like a massive threat to anyone. He's obviously still young. These guys are teenagers, but they have so much potential. How far do you think that Musetti can take his skill And is he going to be a multiple-time Grand Slam champion? Will he win any? Will he get to world number one? Why don't you let us know in the comment section below. And now the youngest of the group, Carlos Alcaraz from Spain. He is only 17 currently, and he grew up idolizing Rafael Nadal, his countryman. He's coached by Juan Carlos Ferrero, the 2003 Roland Garros champ and former world number one. Juan Carlos respectfully compares his game style to Roger Federer's as the super aggressive ball striker, likes to play at a high pace and brings a lot of intensity like Rafael Nadal to the court. 2020, after starting the year at 490 in the ATP rankings, the Spaniard climbed 354 places to reach a career high position of 136 in October. Alcaraz Garcia ended the year as 141 and the youngest player and the only top 17-year-old ranked inside the top 400, which is amazing. He's just standing out from the rest of his peers. He's known for his amazing power and aggressive play, like I said. He's the second youngest player to win 3 challenger titles since Richard Gasquet. He won Trieste in August 2020, Barcelona in October 2020, and Alicante in October 2020. So just an amazing last fall for Carlos. And why we're doing this comparison is he's also risen up the rankings extremely quickly. 112 weeks. He's not in the top 100 yet. He's ranked 119 right now, but he's on that similar trajectory like we've talked about as Federer and Nadal were early on in their careers. Now, obviously, talking about these teenagers in the scope of comparing them to the GOATs might be considered unfair, but I think it's also a testament to the amazing potential that we all see in them and the reason that they're doing so well at this young age. Tennis has become a sport that can be played for longer based on modern technology, modern science. We're seeing that with Federer, Nadal, Djokovic playing for so long. So it's even harder for these teenagers to make a splash now. But these 3 guys have been doing it. So I want to know your take on Yannick Sinner, Lorenzo Musetti, and Carlos Alcaraz. Are they the future? What do you think they're going to do as far as Grand Slam wins and getting to number 1 rankings-wise? Let us know in the comment section below, and we'll see you next time here on Tennis Head.